Yes, it is Bryn.
And Casey.
Today we are going to play
Lazer Riders! Wow! Very 80s themed game on VHS. Lazer Riders, Bryn,
Yes, Casey.
is a criminally underplayed game in our store here. Because it is so flippin' cool. Lazer Riders is your space-faring beings, and you are surfing on your laser tracks, and you are trying to race your opponents to pick up these score markers and score points, and the first person to score 3 points wins the game. But very Tron Light Cycle-esque is that if you are racing and you can't make that curve sharp enough, you can crash and blow up and you lose everything and have to start all over. So as you're going, you're changing your gears and going faster and making crazy turns. And I realize we don't have the turn die, which is probably in one of the other 2 boxes. Can you find the dice while I explain the setup of this game?
You bet, Casey. Just for you.
I will say this game is a little bit easier to play with 4 players. Plays really well with more racers ripping around. But the setup, like I said, it's a boardless game. So your whole table surface is your board. And, you know, if you're sitting here and you got your coffee cups or whatever on there, you can throw those in there, no problem. It's just more obstacles that you have to maneuver around as you're picking up the scoring prisms. It is awesome. So the setup of this game is really simple. Everyone's gonna pick their Lazer Rider, and when we're done this video, I'm gonna make sure all these pieces are put nicer back in the boxes because you have these cool VHS trays that has all your track pieces in it. They're kind of messy, so we just dumped them out. But you pick your racer.
Yep.
And then you put your little gear piece into it and set it to whatever gear, it doesn't really matter. But you have your speedometer. You take all your track pieces of your character. You take all your tokens of your character. And then you can also have, you have your character token, which has a special power on the back. I'll explain how to use those in a second.
Super Sheriff.
But the way the game starts, so everyone's got their character. Every player will take one of the prisms and you'll just slap it somewhere on the board. And as long as the prisms are a 3-piece apart from each other, and everyone agrees that it's a fair start, that's a fair starting point. And then we're ready to start the game. And the way we do that is we find our starting track piece or launch piece, whatever fancy name it has. And we're gonna take this, and everyone closes their eyes. And when our eyes are closed, I'm gonna count down from 10. I'll just do 5 because we'll make it shorter. And with one hand, you pick what edge of the table you wanna start from. And then with your other hand, you're gonna hold up how fast you wanna go from the start. So 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Okay.
So we'll count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we open our eyes. You didn't do.
I was listening. It's gonna go right there.
What's your speed?
2.
Okay. That was simple instructions. Anyways, so you take your racer and you set the speed to what speed you had your fingers up at. Mine was 3, which means I have the higher gear. I am going first, and then I also get the tiebreaker token for this round.
So I don't pay attention to you.
Apparently. All right, so the way it works is because I'm going first and it is my turn, the turn order works like this. I can decide to go up a gear or down a gear or stay at the same gear. And then whatever gear I'm at, so I'm gonna go up to 4 for my turn here. Then I can find any of my pieces that have a 4 on them. So there's a turn 4 of different lengths. What's my other 4s? There's straight pieces 4s. There's sharp turns. Actually, there's no sharp turns at 4. If you're going 4, you can't turn that sharp. But essentially, yeah. So you find, of all my 4 pieces, I place one of them from my starting piece. And I want to get to this prism to score right away. So I'm just going to lock that into spot there, like so. And then I'll pass, and then it'll be Bryn's turn. He'll pick he'll choose if he wants to go up or down a gear.
All right. So stay at 2. Go to 2. Boop.
All right, and then we would start the next round, and whoever goes first again goes to the person who's in the highest gear, which would be me, and this would pass to here. And then we would go around again, and we would place our second piece. So I'm gonna go again with number 4. Bam! Scored this. So I'm gonna take this and replace it with a token of my color. Cha-ching, and that stays there. And then you would go play in your piece.
Okay, I'm gonna go up to number 3. Boop. Okay, number 3. Boop. Don't need that.
And then we would go, and I'm still highest gear, so I'll stay first player. Tiebreaker would pass to the next player. The tiebreaker is used in situations where if we were at the same gear, how do you determine who's gonna go first or second? It'd be whoever has the tiebreaker token, or if you're playing 4-player game, whoever is closest to the tiebreaker player on their left would get the token, or the higher space token. So at the end of the scoring round, because I scored a prism that's locked onto my race here, I close my eyes and I take this and I kind of just chuck it on the table, and that's where the new one ends up. And nice. So then we're just going. I would recommend if you're playing with open drinks or food, maybe move them or have the other players cover the drinks before you just start tossing tokens in them. Otherwise you get coffee flavored scoring tokens.
We don't like that.
No. So some other rules with this. If we're racing and now I want to make a turn or a sharp turn, which is symbolized by turning pieces with the little swirly on it, I have to, if I want to make this turn, and you can put them either direction for whatever direction you want to turn, I have to roll a dice, the turn die. And so, because I'm going, we'll say I'm speed 3 to play that turn there, I have to roll the dice, and I have to roll higher than my current speed to succeed on that turn. So there's only 2 sides here, or no, there's 3 sides here I can succeed on. So I got about a 50-50 chance making a sharp turn at 3 and roll it. It has to be higher, so I would in fact spin out, so then I have to replace this with a 3 straight piece. And so if you're trying to turn to avoid crashing, and then I can't make that turn, I would essentially crash.
What happens if you crash?
When you crash, you take all your track pieces off the board, and you take your scoring piece and leave it there. And then the next turn, I would have to do, you know, pick my starting spot and shoot off from there. While this is on the board, this is technically still my race token until someone else picks it up. So you need to get 3 tokens of your color to win. So ideally this becomes a focal point where someone wants to scoop that.
So I come along, so, like so.
Eventually get there. You would replace this with one of your yellow ones, and now I'm set back. If I crash into your racetrack about, say, here,
yep.
All the pieces from previous, including your starting race piece, disappear. Anything forward, and you're still just going to keep racing off from here, and so on.
So I have 2 places I'd be able to play from?
No, you would only play from the top of your race until you crash. Then you have to go from your starting point. If you run out of racetracks of the speed you're traveling, you have to play the next one down. So yeah, so if you burned out and you went all the way across the table using all your 4 and 5 straight pieces, then your 3 pieces are the only ones that go.
So
but
it could cost you turns then. If you're at 5 and all you have left is 2 1s.
Yeah, then you're stuck only. You might as well shift down. Yeah. But chances of that is pretty slim, since most people will be crashing into each other's spaces anyways. Every time you score a token, you can flip your character token over, so you can use its power, and when you use its power, you flip it back. And then next time you run over a prism to score it, you can flip back and use your power one more time.
So you use it twice?
You can use it as many times as you want, as long as you pick up a scoring token while it's been used. And so like my Phantom Cosmonaut, his ability is I can't crash this turn. Skip the crash phase. So at this point, like if I crash into yours, as long as I use my power, then next turn I can just keep playing off your space and essentially driving through your prism there.
That's good.
Another neat thing too with crashing is that if you have your score token like this on here, and I was coming through, I can actually drive over top of the prism to get over top of your tracks.
Nice.
So if you want to pick your spot on your opponent's, like to where you can cross over top of their path, you want to drive over where their scoring tokens are left.
It's cake.
Yeah, and like I said, you just keep playing them until you pick up all the tokens. I really like this game in that it's really simple of just adjusting your speed. And you get crazy moments when you're like, oh man, he pulled out a 5 to cut me off, and now I have to do like this crazy sharp turn where I'm gonna crash. And you roll the dice and see what you get, and there's an instant crash side as well.
This is really chaotic for people.
Yeah, and like I said, because there's no board or anything, you're just kind of putting stuff. Like right now we could put it on a clear table, but we could put your coffee cup in the middle, and that if you hit the coffee cup, then you crash. And if you drive off the table, you crash. And it creates a crazy situation like that where you have to like micromanage sharp turns and zigzagging around there.
And if you crash, you respawn the scene where you started, close your eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, if two people, you really only have to do like the close your eyes countdown if two people crashed at the same turn, because then it randomizes what they're starting or where they're starting. But otherwise, if you're the only one, you just stick it wherever and set your speed what you want.
I like it.
Yeah, really cool game. Like I said, it's underplayed. I admit the box art doesn't tell you a whole lot about the game when you pick it up, other than it looks really
It's an original
cool.
series box set.
Yeah, it's a really cool 80s looking game. But the gameplay is super fun. I highly recommend
A
it.
skeleton in a spacesuit.
There's a shark with a laser.
Even better.
So yeah, that is Lazer Riders.
Awesome. All right.
So,
So,
if people want to see, if people want to see more videos like this, I just talked the whole video. Why can't you wrap them up? If you want to see more videos like this, like and subscribe right here, and see what other videos we've got out there, other cool games that we recommend playing. Thanks for watching.